Hello, welcome to lesson 4, inputting with a scanner. In this lesson you're going to learn about inputting. So far we've done outputs and we've talked about different variable types. So now we're going to get into how to get the user to interact with our software. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to get them to input some information. Now, one of the main rules that you'll learn in programming, and this goes across quite a different range of programming languages, when using an input, is that all inputs are strings. And that's generally true across the line. But we've got a few different rules when it comes to inputting with Java. One of the first things that we have to do when we input information, or rather when the user inputs the information, is we need to use a class. Now this class is called a scanner class, and this class belongs to a package. Now the package that this class sits in is called java.util, and I'm going to show you all of that when we get onto the practical element of this lesson. When we interact with a user, the user must input information to us, and that information needs to be transferred into some kind of variable. Now, we've done variables before, so now we're going to have a look at the different types of variables again, and also how we address this with the scanner. So here we have a list of scanner methods. These are the methods that we are going to use to align with the type of variable that the user is going to key in. So as you can see, the first one is next line, and that reads a string value from the user. The one below it is Boolean, so next Boolean, and next byte, next double, next float, next int, next long, and next short. So these are all the types of variables that we're going to basically use when the user inputs the information. And we're going to use that information to somehow work with our software. What I'm going to do is we're going to go straight into the practical. So as you can see, I've already started up IntelliJ Idea, and we're going to start a new project. These were the two projects we worked on last, so I'm going to start a new project. Now again, just like before, we're not going to be using any kind of libraries or frameworks. So I'm just going to move on to the next page. And again, we're not going to use or create a template. I'm going to call it working with inputs and hit finish. Okay, so once again we're presented with the same file structure as we had before. I'm going to go to src, I'm going to right click, hit new, and start a new Java class. We're going to call this working with inputs and press return. So the first thing we need to do is to import the scanner class. So I'm just going to do that very quickly. So first of all, we need to import it. It's under java.util, and the actual class is called scanner. We use a capital S for scanner, and we close it off with the semicolon. The next thing we need to do is create a main method. So I'll just do that very quickly. You've done those before now, so shouldn't have any problems with that. Now what we do is we need to create a scanner instance, or rather an instance of the scanner object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do scanner, and I'm just going to call it obj equals, and I'm going to call it new scanner, and it's system in, because we're now doing an input, and close that off with a semicolon. Ideally what we want to do is we want to give the user the opportunity to input some information. So let's think of some information that we can use. So I'm actually going to go, what is your name? Now you'll notice I've actually put a space at the end. The reason for that is because I'm actually going to change this print line to just a print statement, so it'll actually keep all the information on one line. So at this point, we're expecting the user to input some information, and in this case I think the information is going to be their name. So we're going to use a string to set up the variable, and I'm just going to call it name, and it's going to equal the instance of the object dot next line, like so. Now what you have to do is you have to make sure that you've got those brackets at the end. And what I'm going to do is, just to show you that it works, we're going to do a system out print line of your name is, put a space in there, and it's going to be plus name, like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run that a moment and see what happens. So we'll click on the run option. Okay, so I'm going to put in Joe in here, and it should say your name is Joe. So as you can see, that's working really nicely. And I could do that for a second name as well. So if I just said that this was their first name, so we could just do first name. And over here, we'll change this to first name as well. First name, remember I'm using camel case, and this will need to change too. So first name, and run that just to test it, just to make sure we're all good with that. And down here, type in Joe. You'll see it still says Joe. Let's have a second name. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy these two lines here. Control C. Press return and paste those in. Now you can see that we've got this line under here. That's because it doesn't like that, but I'm going to call this surname. And what is your last name? And actually I'm just going to put a space in there as well, just tidy that up a little bit. Put in your last name. And over here we're going to do what we did before, so I'm just going to use a plus, use those speech marks with the space in between, and type in surname. And if we run that, I'm going to bring the cursor down here, Joe Blogs, you'll see that it says your name is Joe Blogs. So it's a good way of confirming that the information that's been entered is correct. Okay, so that's all well and good if we're using characters, but let's have a look at what happens when we use numbers. So what I'm going to do is, actually I'm just going to quickly change that from name to number. And we're going to change this from first name to num1. And I'm going to change this one to num2. And again, just to save a bit of time, I'm just going to copy that and paste it over there and change this to second number. Okay, so what is your, I'm going to change that to the, change that to the as well. What is the first number? What is the second number? And we're going to set this so that it actually just displays the first and the second number. So num1, num2, and your numbers are, and let's just see what happens when we run that. So what is your first number? So I'm going to say 44. And the second number is 55, and it should say your numbers are 44, 55. So that works really well as well, but we're still using that string. What if we was to convert those into actual numbers? So let's just do that for a moment. So I'm going to take string, and I'm going to change that to a byte. Okay, because we're using numbers that are going to be less than 127, we'll do that. Now you'll see straight away, because I've changed them both to bytes, it doesn't like it. That's because it's still using next line. So let's change that to byte. And let's do the same with this one as well. Change that to byte. And we'll just run that for a moment, see what happens. And we'll use the same numbers again. So we're going to use 44 and 55. And it still actually displays the numbers as 44, 55. But the advantage we have here is we can actually add in some maths. So let's do a very simple algorithm. So I'm just going to say total equals num1 plus num2. And instead of saying this, your numbers are, and then I'm going to say when added they equal to, and then I'm going to put in total, like so. So you can see total over there. Now, if you notice there's a little line under total, so what I need to do is I need to set a variable type. So I'm going to set integer to this, just in case the number does go over 127. And I'm going to run that. So the first number is going to be 44, second number 55, and you should see that your numbers are 44, 55, and when added they equal to 99. So that works really well. And you can use that with any of those scanner methods I showed you before. And what I'll do is I'll show you those scanner methods again, just so you can see what they are. There you go. So we have next line for string, boolean for boolean value, byte, double, float, integer, long, and short. So they all work really well. One of the issues that you will encounter, however, is let's just keep them as they are. What would happen if the user enters anything but a number? So we'll put in A, and you get this horrible exception error come up. Exception errors are where we have not anticipated what the user is going to input, and in a later video I'm going to show you how to get around that. I hope you found this video really useful, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see future videos, please subscribe and you'll be notified on my next video. Okay, until next time, thank you.